As one of the three pillars of conservation farming, stubble management is one of the key ingredients in maintaining healthy soils.
Stubble plays two very important roles. The first one is actually physically protecting the soil surface from erosion, whether that be wind erosion or rain erosion. Australia has had more than its fair share of erosion over the years, and we don't have a lot of great soil, so we've got to protect what we can. The other role that it plays, which is very significant, is actually as a food source for the microorganisms that live in the soil. So rather than burning it, by leaving it in the field, the energy that was captured from the sun that's now in that plant material can be made available to the soil microorganisms. And those organisms have a plethora of roles. They make up the soil organic carbon fraction of the soil, which is great for holding nutrients and water, and also the cycling of nutrients. So I guess when we talk about stubble, yes, it's protecting the soil in a physical sense, but it's also the food for the soil that keeps it moving and keeps it working. And I think what we've discovered is that the more activity you have in your soil, the greater you get things like water holding capacity, infiltration rates, resilience to finish crops in dry seasons.
Well, the key benefit of stubble staying on the soil and no cultivation is wind erosion. Wind erosion is our biggest limiting factor in our environment, and if we don't control wind erosion, the later sown crops get blown away in July and then they recover, but the yield is never as good as the crops that are sown early. Going to a no-till system and having good stubble cover and sowing into stubble makes sure that we eliminate that erosion factor, and therefore it increases our yield, average yield across the whole farm.
Yeah, we try and limit the amount of times that we actually drive in the paddock, and by removing the sheep out of the system, that was one of the things that was trying to retain our stubble there. The trials in Canada that I saw, the higher the stubble, generally the higher the yield of the next crop. So it just shades the soil and keeps it all alive through those hot summer months.
We like to try and keep as much stubble as possible. I guess the first part of that is basically for wind erosion.
By taking that out of the equation, which is effectively what we've done, it just opens up a world of possibilities. And it does mean you can sow early. It means you can sow on no moisture pretty much, and it can sow dry because that's no longer an issue. And so by doing that, it opens up the mallee to a whole heaps more potential and opportunities.
There's huge benefits in retaining your stubble and for your microbial population and for nitrogen fixation, within your free living rhizobium sort of type stuff within your cropping system.
If our soil is the growing medium and the soil microorganisms are the powerhouse that get that to happen, then certainly to give them both the protection and the food that they need, retaining the stubble does both of those things. So it really is a key.